Welcome back to Cine Club. I'm Maria. This is a show where we watch movies that have recently come out on theaters and we review them. The movie I saw this week was the awaited remake of Robocop. Because we live in a time where Hollywood has nothing to do but prequels and trilogies and, of course, remakes. Robocop is the remake of the 1980s Robocop, and the basic premise is pretty much the same. Detroit officer Alex Murphy is just about dead after a terrible accident and is turned into a cyborg by this major corporation run by Michael Keaton's character that wants to bring in robots into the United States to substitute police officers and keep the country safe. He already has some robots in the Middle East, but America doesn't want robots in the streets protecting them. They want their cops, they want compassion, they want heart. So Michael Keaton's character meets them halfway, and now you have Robocop. The basic premise is still the same, but this movie touched a lot more on political issues as to what it would be like to have robots doing the jobs of humans and how people would actually feel about it. Can robots really keep us safe without having those human elements that we are so accustomed to? What it really means to be a human being. It touches on that very well, and I think that's what makes this movie interesting. But staying on this subject for over an hour makes this movie a lot more like a political commentary than an action movie. The movie slows down a lot on the part where Murphy is turned into Robocop, and I think the only reason this would be even interesting is because Gary Oldman is the doctor who turns him into Robocop, and he's the doctor with the shaky morale where he doesn't know if what he's doing is right. Let's face it, anytime Gary Oldman is on screen, it's always fantastic. But I really think they could have cut the training part and the whole part of getting used to being Robocop and carry on with the movie and the action. Which brings me to what I really think was the error in this movie, and I think it was the pacing. So in the original, Murphy gets shot, killed, turned into Robocop, swiped his memory, and he spends the rest of the movie trying to find his humanity. In this one, he gets blown up, he gets turned into Robocop, he knows what happened to him, he's suffering, he's mourning his loss, he's trying to become Robocop, he trains, then they swipe his memory, and then he spends the rest of the movie, or should I say the last 30 minutes, trying to find who he is. I mean, seriously, you could have just saved yourself 40 minutes of not much going on and moved on with the movie. The pacing in the original is so much better. It carries the story quicker, but it doesn't feel rushed. You get a lot of Robocop doing his thing, you get the corporate side, you get the political side, you get the criminal side a lot more. And the result, I think it's a well-balanced movie. I think one of the reasons this movie feels so flat is the whole PG-13 thing. Sure, there was a lot of room to improve the 80s version. Maybe they didn't need to make it so violent, that's fine by me. But they kind of just completely eliminate the whole criminal side that is so relevant in the first one. And so you just feel like there's not much for Robocop to deal with in the end. I mean, really, Robocop's biggest enemy in this movie is just the corporation. In the 80s version, there's a great balance between Robocop's character and how he develops in the film, the corporate yuppies just trying to push the product that is Robocop, and the criminal aspect and the mob and everything that really ties the whole movie together and makes it so much more fun to watch. This one was more of the corporate side fighting the politics and trying to get drones into the US, and Robocop kind of just like the back entertainment of the whole thing. He doesn't even feel like the main character in the movie, and that sucks. One of the great things about the 80s version of this movie is the character of Clarence, who's like the badass guy in the streets, the one who shot Robocop, the one Robocop is looking for revenge. And then you just don't have that in this movie. So Robocop is really left fighting no real crime in this movie. Just, you know, a few silly scenes here and there, nothing too challenging, and it's a little boring. Don't get me wrong, the new Robocop is very cool, the suit is badass, I really did enjoy what they did with it, but would it have killed them to make the movie a little bit more fun? It took so long for a good action sequence to happen. I mean, it was about 30 minutes left, and that's when the real action started to happen. The whole movie felt kind of cold and distant. It was almost like the director was afraid to have fun with the movie. He was so afraid of messing it up, and so there was no real experimenting, there was no real fun element to the movie. It was just very serious. The original one, even though it's gritty and it's really violent, it still had like really nice nuggets of humor here and there, and this movie doesn't even have any kind of comedy, any kind of humor, which just makes it really dull and just really kind of too heavy, I think. The result for me was a really flat and boring movie to follow. So in the end, I would say that Robocop is probably good for renting on DVD. The movie's cool enough, but I don't think in any way it's better than the first one, and so maybe it will appeal to some new Robocop fans. I'm not sure how old Robocop fans will feel about it though. It was a good remake. It's not my favorite remake by any means. My fear is that they have set this up for a sequel. Big surprise. So they made this one slower as an introduction to the character, and then they're gonna make the other one like action-packed. and I don't know how I feel about that. So that's my review of Robocop 2014. Tell me, what did you think of the movie? Also, tell me, how do you feel about Hollywood remaking one of your favorite movies? Do you like it? Are you against it? Is it always guaranteed to be ruined? Comment down below and let me know. That is all for this episode of Cine Club. I hope you had fun watching this as much as I enjoyed reviewing this movie. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you on our next movie date. So the movie is directed and written by Spike Jonze and is set in a sort of futuristic yet relatable time where this writer, played by Joaquin Phoenix, is going through a tough time, and he decides to buy the latest, most advanced operating system that is made to adapt and evolve like a human being. Robocop is a remake. Freaking bird. Robocop is a remake of the Oh my god, that bird is gonna kill me. Okay. Robocop is the He's talented, I know.